The theme of the month is gratitude. And we've just completed Thanksgiving, and Thanksgiving is my most favorite holiday. Why? Well, there's no there's not the same amount of pressure that Christmas has with kids and presents and all of that stuff. And then it's not Halloween where I'm dressing up like some spooky ghost, or it's not like the Easter Bunny and the pressure of eggs and all of that. So what's Thanksgiving about? It's about coming together with family and eating. What could be cooler? And what we've heard from our sharing this morning is really the essence of Thanksgiving. It's gratitude. How grateful. It's really a time to come together, Thanksgiving, but how grateful we are for the abundance that we have, regardless of how much we have. And I think that's the essence of true abundance, is being grateful for what I have right now, regardless. No comparison. It's thank you for this life exactly as it is. Wow. So this was our best Thanksgiving ever. Why? Well, our nephew took the role of saying, we're not going to talk about politics. We're all traumatized by what happened. We're not going to talk about it. Why feed the angry dog when we could feed the good dog? So let's talk about what we're grateful for. And so we started, and he started. And he was so tender in his sharing, he opened up the whole space. And he talked about his wife and his kids and how they meant so much to him, and his job is doing really well. And he's had more than he's ever wanted in his whole life. And that was pretty cool. And so from there, it went around, and there was 12 of us at the table. And that was the theme of how appreciative we were for everything we had, everything we had. So it was the abundance and it was gratitude. And that's what I heard, abundance and gratitude, back and forth. And it came to me that they're dance partners. And in order to dance in life, you have to recognize the partners. When I'm deep into gratitude, abundance is right there. I'm dancing with abundance. I recognize how much that I have and how grateful I am for what is there. And when I have the sense of abundance, what comes up is gratitude. You can see that they're almost it's the same coin, the same feeling tone, two different sides of it. But we're looking at them as one particular feeling. So what's the feeling of gratitude? You can imagine just bringing up that feeling, the feeling tone of gratitude. Does it feel safe? Does it feel slightly warm? Comfortable? Full as opposed to empty? Is there scarcity anywhere in that feeling? No. This is the doorway to presence. This is the doorway to oneness. That feeling tone, it's beyond thought. It's just there. And when we recognize that feeling again and again, it makes that pathway, and it brings the pathway to the Oz or the golden city or whatever. It opens up the pathway to actually experiencing what oneness is. Although we miss it so easily because the mind says, well, that was nice, but what's next? Even when we look at a beautiful dinner, we go, well, yeah, the hors d'oeuvres were great, but I wonder what the next dish is going to be like. And I wonder what the next, and we're always moving towards a future. And we're not necessarily chewing what's in our mouth and tasting it. We're looking for the next something next bite, that'll even be better. So it leads us to think that perhaps we're not really in the moment. What if we were to actually taste, really taste each bite? And that's virtually impossible. We go unconscious, at least I go unconscious, and I just enjoy the chew, chew, chew. But we enjoy the first bite or two because it's fresh, it's new. And so we have a habit of viewing things and then dismissing them, not by malice or anything. We just go on and we're looking for the next. So if we slow things down, really slow them down, and that's what the art of gratitude can be, is to really taste, to appreciate what is before us, regardless, because it won't be there for very long. Have you noticed that as good as that piece of turkey and graving and all of that on there, you chew and you swallow it and it's gone? Every experience comes and goes. The mind looks for a better moment. It's not necessarily satisfied with what is happening now. It's hard to continuously be grateful. It just is. But can we appreciate those moments? Can we keep those moments fresh before us? Now, you've heard the story of my back. So in my suffering for the back, I was put my life on hold, waiting for the back to be better so I could get on with my life. I was waiting for a better moment and wasn't appreciating what was in front of me. And it took a lot of suffering to get to that point where, okay, this is it. This is acceptance. I'm accepting what's so. Can I be grateful for what I have as opposed to waiting for this to go away so I can be grateful? I wanted something to be different than it was. And in my very wanting, I denied what I had. I was feeding the angry dog. I was not feeding the dog of gratitude, the good dog. And it wasn't until I started feeding the good dog that I grew in gratitude. I could feel the abundance in my life, and the back got better all by itself. So, what I'm saying is how powerful this is to recognize what we have before us. And it's missed. I have missed it so often. Just driving to the Home of Truth here this morning, I was missing, I drove right past it. I was down the street because I was thinking about this talk and I went, whoa, I'm seeing new buildings. I've gone too far. But something noticed that I hadn't, this wasn't in my, it was fresh. But all of the buildings up here I've seen so many times for more than 10 years now. And I didn't see them until I saw something new. Whoa, that tells me something here. So to bring this a little more concrete, my joy has been to go out into the desert and to be in solitude and to basically really get into the vastness of it all and the spookiness of being so alone and so out there. So I was out there and I brought my chair with me and I sit and I look at it all and I force myself to just be present. Ah. And I'm expecting a revelation while I'm at it. So big pressure. So I'm out there sitting And the mind is torturing me like I know it did Jesus out there. The devil came, right? Well, the devil's right here. It's the thoughts. And the thoughts are saying, well, I mean, this is beautiful and it's nice and it's fantastic. And I've always wanted to be out here like this. And it's not enough. There was the hungry ghost. This is what the Buddhists would call the hungry ghost of desire and the essence of suffering. So I met the hungry ghost. I said, okay, ghost, what do you want? Well, I think you should walk over the next hill to see how beautiful it is over there. I think you should do this. Aren't you just a little bit hungry? And up, up, up. And all of these thoughts came up. Wow. What if I were just to sit with these thoughts and to call them out as just thoughts? Okay, thoughts. You really want to do that? And when I directly talked to the thoughts, they became quiet. How real are those thoughts? How truly real are those thoughts? They seem pretty real. But when I questioned them, pop, they're just thoughts. But what I realized that there was this hunger to go farther out, this longing to go farther out. So the revelation was, that's going to be there. I'm not going to get rid of that. There's always going to be this desire. But do I have to follow it? How real is it? How real is it? So, what is true abundance? And my guess is it's the cessation of any thought of scarcity or desire. When there is no thought of scarcity or desire or wanting anything more, because that prevents me from recognizing what I already have. So true abundance is not about anything on the outside. It's about an attitude of appreciating what is here, being grateful for what is here right now. And I can't say that enough. And I'm talking to myself because I need to know this and learn this and to live this again and again and again, making that pathway wider and wider. So the cessation of thoughts of scarcity and desire, good luck. You can't will it to stop. I've tried. And it just makes it stronger in a way. So it's not about focusing on making something disappear. It's shifting the focus on what is here rather than what I want. Because that's a desire too. I'm desiring my thoughts of scarcity to go away. The mind goes, okay. So it's really about shifting focus. And it's easier than we think. And the shifting of the focus is really shifting away from the dog of anger or upset, scarcity, and shifting it towards what is it that brings me joy? The good dog. Mm. The next time I went to the desert, this was in northern New Mexico. And I went to this monastery, Christ in the Desert. And it's an isolation place where you can rent your own cell and you can put a little plaque around your chest there. It says, I'm in silence and no one will talk to you. And there's very little talking anyway at this monastery. We eat in silence, but I could be in solitude and I got fed. That's great. And I had a bed. So every day I'd go out into the wilderness and I would spend the day just sitting. And a good friend of mine said, why don't you bring along pencils and paper and draw what you see? And that was a revelation. I had never really tried to draw something. And as I started to try to draw stuff, I realized how pale and impossible it was to capture anything in nature. It was, I was writing a menu and I was missing the meal. Nature is the meal. And here I'm trying to put it into a menu. You can't describe the feeling. And I'm saying, well, wait a minute. Why don't I try to draw the feeling and not draw what I'm seeing? Or maybe add them both together. And so I continued playing with that back and forth. What's the feeling of being here? How do I put that down? And I don't know if you've ever tried to paint or to draw and how damn difficult it is. Wow. And the more I looked, the more I saw all of the variations in color. On one tree that seemed like there was 1,000 different shades and hues depending upon the light and the shadow and how the leaves were fading in color because they were dying and others were coming up just on one bush. And there was thousands of bushes. And the farther I looked down the canyon, the more I could see as I got farther in perspective, everything became bluer or it changed. And so the farther out I got, the bushes changed. Everything was changing. It was quite an eye opener. What I discovered was the abundance of nature. And sitting there trying to draw it, the abundance of rocks, shapes, colors, textures. Well, if that was true of eyesight, what about of sounds? And so then I would close my eyes and I would listen. And I was amazed at the sounds. At first, it didn't sound like much, but the more I listened and the more I tuned in, focused in, all of the different sounds. Well, if that's true, what am I feeling on my skin? You see where I'm going with this? It's like all of the senses, the whole abundance of nature. And what came next was, I am nature. I am out here. I am inseparable from this. The breath moves in and out of this organism. This is a receiving receptor. This body is a receptor of all of this, and I am inseparable from it. And it was so simple to see that. And I know you've seen this. The difference this time was the recognition of it and sort of putting it into a context. So, what is abundance? What's true abundance? It's not a thought, it's a feeling. And it's a recognition of how connected, in the sense we are, to everything. And we've always been this way. There's never been a time when we haven't been connected. There's been lots of times when we haven't seen it. But when we stop and slow it all down and really look, it's always been here. When the question is asked, well, can a monk that has nothing be abundant? Of course. It's not about the outside. It's about our relationship to life. That's what abundance really is. It's our relationship to life as it unfolds, as it's given. Can I accept what is given? Don't really have much choice. I can fight it or I can accept it. And so, driving out of the Christ in the desert, this is northern New Mexico, where Georgia, this is the same canyons that Georgia O'Keeffe drew all of her famous artwork. And driving out and seeing the canyons and all of this, I was a different person than driving in. And looking forward to the driving through all of that landscape, all the way back to Oakland, all of the different zones and altitudes and foliage, and the inseparableness of gratitude for everything that I was looking at, everything. Even driving up Highway 5, where it looks like there's nothing, there's so much there. And so basically, I leave you with the dance partners, abundance and gratitude. And that if we want to learn to really dance in life, those are the partners. And when we're feeling grateful, we're usually feeling grateful for what we have, for the abundance that's already here. And when we're in gratitude, we recognize how truly abundant we've always been, always been. So I'm going to close with an affirmation, not a prayer, but an affirmation. We'll call it a prayer also. And you're going to repeat after me, and we'll do it twice. I am committed to uncovering and living my innately abundant life. Okay. I am committed to uncovering and living my innately abundant life. And we're doing it right now. Thank you so much.